And welcome to Recovery Report Live. I'm Dan Odess, joined by our very own Matt Sengsourinh for a very, very special and exciting broadcast. Every single week, we are giving you information you can use. Today is a little bit different. Today is about GlobalPro, about a big transition that is occurring here at GlobalPro. And I couldn't be more excited to announce what is going on within GlobalPro. But before we get to the big announcement, obviously, if you haven't read the press release and haven't checked out our website, obviously go ahead and go there first, globalpro.com, check it out. And if you haven't already, subscribed and like us on all of our social media while you're in front of your computer and you have the chance to do it. So let's get into it today. Let's talk a little bit about the past, Matt, because for those listeners that have seen the actual press release, they know why we're here today and what we're about to talk about. For those that are going to join us tonight at an incredible celebration, you obviously are poised and ready to experience yet another opportunity to celebrate with GlobalPro, as we have done so many times over the last 11 years. This is the year of steel, so it couldn't be more fitting as far as
That's right.
as far as a title for the year, if you will, or a mood that we feel rigid like steel, ready for whatever is being thrown at us. And as we make these transitions and changes and make these special announcements, it's always fun and exciting to do it our way, because we certainly do it the GlobalPro way. I think a lot of people in the industry have grown to expect certain things from us, a certain level of a celebration.
So that's a great, I think, a great segue, right? Like, let's talk about that. The GlobalPro way, almost 12 years.
Yeah.
This is a year of steel, our anniversary year of steel. I always relate everything. I can think about it in my head, like building a big high-rise tower, in Miami Beach or Miami or whatever. But let's talk about that. So 2012, Mr. Founder, you started the company. You had very specific goals, very specific reasons why you started the company. Yep. Let's start there. Talk about the origin, the beginning, and the fortuitous moment that occurred. Once you started GlobalPro and got running.
Yeah. So using your analogy as a building, let's call it the foundation, right? The foundation of GlobalPro is really to focus on insurance services for businesses and community associations. As I talked about in the last episode, what really drove me in that direction is just because of commonality in the product that they were using, right? The commercial insurance policies. Always been a big focus on tech. So I wanted to build a business around different verticals. And my vision for this was not only just insurance services as it relates to kind of the meet and greet part of it, the in-person, but also what are we doing around that to facilitate change within the industry, because there definitely needed to be a lot of change. We just came off a really difficult legislation year in Florida, and I founded the business in Florida. Shortly thereafter, opened an office in New York, understanding the transient nature between New York and Florida, which was fully exposed front and center during the pandemic and the Great Migration. Well, I saw that in 2012, and I knew that our footprint needed to be both in Florida, but also as well as in the New York area. And it was a really central issue for GlobalPro, and how are we going to be able to cater to the services and cater to the services and needs of our clientele, particularly in the real estate industry, which many of them at the time resided in New York, but their assets were in the South Florida area, particularly some in the Central Florida area. So, and so it's like, all right, let's get to work. Let's start doing this thing. Farah from day one was there. Our forever centerpiece in here, GlobalPro. The glue. Yes, that keeps us moving, going together. August Forte, obviously been an important part of our growth, was there as well, almost from day one. He was just a little shortly thereafter her, and they've been with us ever since. So, but again, the vision being commercial property owners, operators, as well as community associations, these commercial insurance policy, the transient nature between Florida and New York, all of this went into the thought process of, okay, let's build a unique business that provides a plethora of services as it relates to insurance, but the focus being on the consumer, on the policyholder, not on the industry. A lot of people in the insurance industry, I would say for the most part, all of them in the insurance services industry, are on the side of the insurance companies or risk managers, and have a certain kind of cut and paste approach to insurance, whether it's claims, placing insurance, rebuilding, whatever it may be. You see a lot of cut and paste. I've participated in the RIMS conferences and other things where I've gone and met and sat down with these individuals. And the reason why I did that is it's almost kind of like research, if you will, industry research, trying to figure out how are we going to be different. And I truly believe we came up with the concept of ready, recover, rebuild, managing risk to recovery. Again, it's all about this holistic or the signature process that we have here. Early on branding, obviously a very important part of this, and trying to grow those things. But it wasn't just only about Florida to New York, how serendipitous that we're sitting here today, because the connection between the two of us is from Florida to New York.
That's right.
And early on, Superstorm Sandy obviously hits the New York area. It draws me up into to that area to really solidify our presence in that market. I had a team around me which grew rapidly. What a hell of an experience. I think my beloved wife at times was wondering whether or not I was ever going to come home.
You like the short too much. Let's be honest.
Is that what it was?
It's the Jersey Shore. It doesn't to everybody. So.
I mean, I'll be honest, the food, fantastic, man. I'm always a good bagel and some schmear, and you got me.
You make a guy happy, you got to get to his stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
So, come on.
I'm
glad you admitted that on camera. I'm just happy. We can end now if you want.
Exactly. A few too many pork rolls and some pizza and everything else, but I survived it. It was just an unbelievable experience. There's some key individuals that you all know who you are out there that really made us successful early on. We were absolutely humming in that first year. Our marketing approach, our connections that we made within the community. Next thing you know, I'm walking with like local politicians and giving interviews with local media. And there's so many people that I can credit for our early success and helping us get to where we are. It really is important. But I think early on, I noticed the need to ensure that you were part of the solution. And how community needed to be front and center. And I think culturally within the business, it's continued to be very much at front and center in everything that we do. We talk about community so often. We talk about the culture and the needs for the culture, core values and focus and goals. We reiterate those things so often. And early on, I was just the three of us, sometimes just August and Farah and I. We were having our team meetings. We were talking about our core values. Sometimes I think Farah and August probably thought I was crazy. Like, why do we need these meetings? We talk literally 500 times a day. But I wanted process. I wanted to be process orientated because I really had a bigger vision for the business. And I wanted to get in a habit of doing things. So as we grew, it wasn't disruptive. And I think that a lot of people make that mistakes as entrepreneurs. They don't think big. But act small. I think that's actually like a kind of a cliche statement in business. But that was my idea, is that to think big, right? So I wanted to think big and act big, so that when I got there, it was part of our process, not disruptive to it. And so for some things, I think you need to think and act big as opposed to acting just small. Now, on the small side of stuff, obviously customer service and reaching out, and our clients have been so important to our growth. The testimonials that we've gotten over the years, the opportunity to be in their homes and to their businesses and to impact them in so many positive ways, both on the community side, but also representing them either in claims or the placement of insurance, listening to their feedback. How can we improve our services? How can we do these things? A lot of our reach into the community, into their businesses, talk to their employees, understand what makes them think and function, do these things, and be a part of that solution. So I think there's so much. I can go on and on, obviously, as you know, talking about these things. And I'm so excited to be here. So it gives me even more energy to talk about this stuff. And, a humbling moment to kind of like think and look back. How did we get here? How did we make these decisions? Oftentimes we were wrong in some of the strategies we had. But when it mattered most, we were right. And I think, again, a lot to do with entrepreneurship and growing a business is accepting the fact that you're probably going to be more wrong than right as you grow a business and doing what you're doing. But again, relying heavily on your gut, understanding what KPIs represent, key performance indicators, and having some sort of measure of that success and being able to point to something that kind of just make sure that your compass is pointed in the right direction. But I think again, staying true to your core values, staying focused, and ensuring that you actually have measurable goals is, I think, something that I did so often and early on that I think that in our practices today, every Tuesday at team meets, talks about these things. Even the Texas office does the same thing. It's part of our culture here, and it's something I did early on. Sometimes when I was a meeting of one or a meeting of three, depending on what we had going on at that time. But again, we had such rapid growth early on in the business. We could have so easily failed, and that's the reality of it. But I think because we had so many good people, Farah, August, and so many other people around us that were helping and supporting it, and obviously my very own wife, she was incredibly supportive from day one. Without her, none of this was possible. First off, it was her father who got me into the business of insurance. Learned so much from him. Definitely a very different style than I or many others in the industry had. But it was a lot to learn from him. Again, my family has been doing this for 4 decades in insurance. It's crazy. I was just writing something just this week, and I wrote 3 decades. And sent it to my wife, like as I've done for over 10 years, ask her opinion and feedback. Sometimes I'm a little nervous to get that feedback, but I enjoy the critical feedback and the information she gives. And the one thing she picked on was, it's not 3 decades, it's 4 decades. And I was like, you're right. I was like,
you just forgot how old we are. That's all. This is a family business. This is the family business, I should say, right? But now you're making me feel old. But yeah, so I think that's important though, right? And obviously you just tried to put about 11 and a half years into one statement, right? It was very, very difficult because so much has gone on and there's been so much planning and execution and things like that. I think out of all that, right, I think we can say there's a couple things that you'll find about GlobalPro that are pretty pervasive, right? We're pretty bold.
Yes.
We don't shy away, right?
No.
We're pretty bold. We don't shy away from adversity or anything like that. We certainly never give up. That's not between you and I and everyone on the team. That's not in our DNA. It's not how it works. And I think the biggest thing is that we try to put in processes to support that. Meaning we try to put in ways to make sure we're resilient on top of it. So inherently that's how we are. We're bold. We don't shy away from adversity or anything. And then we build processes around it to continue to foster that environment and to grow that. So that's the past. That is 40 years, 4 decades. I think that's the correct math. It's a long time. We're old. But that is a tremendous foundation. So when people ask us things like, what's your background? When was GlobalPro started? What's the experience? What's the pedigree? I'm happy to talk about all that stuff because it's unmatched. And especially here in Florida, it's very unique to have that story and to be able to talk about that. And then to expand on all that in the past 11 and a half years has been the real story behind GlobalPro, obviously, but in total, it's a big deal, right? Yeah. And by the way, happy birthday to Frankie. I just want to throw that in there for him. 18 years old. Oh, man. I've seen that kid since he was a little meatball, and now I feel even older. But,
18.
I know. Does he have his license? He has his license, too.
He does,
Oh, my God. Okay. Well, happy birthday, Frankie. We love you very much. And so, all right, let's talk about today then. Let's talk about all that, right, was the genesis of all this. That's the foundation. I mean, you're a builder, right? You're a builder. And so we have the foundation. We're in year 11, and the steel has been set. The die has been set. We're casting 50, 60 floors up, right? And so let's talk about now. So today, I think our team has grown to a place where now we have to grow again. I think that's one of the reasons why we're going through this in this whole transition here, and that's because of what's happened over the past 11 years. So today, talk about the landscape today. Where are we now, and talk about that tower we're building.
Well, a key point is early on realizing, and I'm not even sure if it was really part of the initial vision. Obviously, these things, it's like a good business plan is one that's evolving and changing all the time, and you got to adapt to your times. And I think one of the things that I started to learn and realize is that we need diversification in skill sets and on our team in order to really provide the holistic signature process that I had envisioned.
And that comes from your dad. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? We want to surround the job.
Yes.
In particular, at
Correct.
GlobalPro, we want to surround the job.
Yeah.
You didn't know I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
We want to surround the job, and
I'd be very proud to hear that.
And ultimately, this.
By the way, check out the book on Amazon.com.
It's on Amazon available. Go check it out. So you built the foundation and you built the processes around being resilient and growth and everything built in, and now we're here trying to take it to the next level. So ultimately, look, I think that's another part of our DNA is the execution side. So we have the planning, we have the resiliency. We're very bold at GlobalPro. If you don't know us, you don't really know us, obviously. That's how we do things. But now how do we put it all together and execute? And that's where we are today, right? So
I think a key focus is patience and persistence, and I talk a lot about that in the team meetings and everything else. And a lot of my quotes and things are centered around the idea of being patient and persistent. And I think that's pervasive, right? That's not only in the planning side of it, and the execution, it's in our representation of our clientele. I think it's important that our team has continued to exercise a lot of patience, a lot of persistence to continue to build on that foundation. And I think more so than ever before, now is the time to be patient and persistent in our growth plan. And I think that where we're at today, having managed more than $1 billion in loss and disaster, thousands of policies that we have helped, been a part in facilitating the placement of insurance, and the various other things that we get involved in on ancillary to what we're actually doing. A lot of associations coming to us when we get $10+ million recoveries for them. What do they do with the money? How do they do with the money? Who do they talk to? And while we're not centered in that conversation, and we're kind of on the purview of it because we did our job, we got them the recovery and got them the money and access to the money that they would otherwise certainly not gotten on their own. We've been through the process where other associations have been there, and so we can share those experiences so our clients get the full benefit of those things. And so I think where we're at today is that the reason why we're at the top of the food chain when it comes to insurance services related businesses is because we've had so much exposure to so many of these various different issues, whereas a smaller company or even these bigger companies who may have more people or more offices, they're still not getting this same exposure as we are, because although there may be different companies that may compete with us on different services we offer, there's no one I know of in this country or abroad that is dealing with the frequency of these significant issues for community associations and businesses. And so what you get here at GlobalPro is that experience, which is going to help expedite the decision-making process, where people are going to make more informed and better decisions as to what to do before, during, and after they experience these losses or placing insurance or recovering or rebuilding. And we're constantly diversifying our services to capture more opportunity to stay in front of our clients because they want us there, not only when they're placing insurance or recovering loss, but when they're rebuilding and doing these various different other things. And I think without the vast experience that we have and the frequency with which we deal with it as a smaller team, if you will, small business, right, that is growing with multiple offices and new offices on the horizon, and we'll get there, obviously, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But I think that's the advantage, and the technology that's supporting and backing it, how it was grown in-house, developed in-house. It was catered around the needs of our clients, and allowing and leveraging us to be able to provide them better, more expeditious services, answer their questions faster, get the information faster, facilitate the claims process faster, facilitate the placement of insurance faster, expedite things, speed things, the process up while being patient and being persistent. And I think that's led to so many more discoveries in it. But Matt, like for you it was just your anniversary here at the company as well. From the beach to the office, as it were, the beach to the boardroom, right? All right. We've talked about it, but I'd love for the audience to hear about what led to your decision to join the GlobalPro team, and what have been some of the biggest changes in your career here at GlobalPro that you believe has led to your success and helped GlobalPro achieve its own successes?
Sure. So ultimately, you said from the beach to the boardroom, or whatever the saying was there. But let's talk about that. How we started this whole discussion here, and I think ultimately, I grew up on Wall Street in my career. A lot of the times, and early on in my career, I was actually in front, in the room with folks for my former company, where we were talking to these insurance companies that now today. We talk to as well, I guess is the best way to say it, right? So I know inherently I understand business.
Advocate, don't aggravate, right?
That's right. I inherently understand business in general, right? But I understand the business of insurance. And so, naturally, over as we were growing our friendship, because we've been friends a long time, we've known each other, I think at this point, half our lives. Certainly Susie and Kristen and I, we all went to college together. So this is continuing the family business here is truly what's going on. When I ended up leaving my company, trying to start my first business, jumping into the entrepreneurial world, which is a deep abyss. It's a deep sea there.
A lot of unknowns.
And you were obviously took an even bigger interest because that was your world already. You understood what was going on. You understood for me at that point what that was going to look like and probably feel like way more than I did, obviously. So we've always been close. We've always talked through things. I've always called you for advice and to talk through some of these things. And I think, again, I mentioned fortuitous, right? You starting GlobalPro, having Sandy as kind of the big matter at the time, we'll call it, right? It wasn't a hurricane. Make sure everyone knows it wasn't a hurricane. It was a superstorm. I call BS, but whatever. And so, there was this whole time period where I always joke, like, I've been here, but I haven't been here. Like, we've been around, but we haven't been around. So I just passed my 5-year anniversary. We're in, our 11th year, 11 and a half years here at GlobalPro. So I've been here half the time, technically, on an official basis. But I've seen the growth. I've seen all the things that you just described and how it was built and the relationship, with Pat and how, everything has developed from that initial job, which was to create the software that ran the company. I mean, just that alone, if you go back and just look at those milestones in the timeline, it's tremendous. I mean, unbelievable, right? So knowing all that and then coming to a place where, you did call me. I was on the shore, which is your favorite place in the whole world, let's be honest. And you called me and you told me very frankly that I wasn't.
We could have a long debate about that. I don't know.
I was not going to be able to sit on the beach for the rest of my life. I remember that conversation, and I couldn't argue with you. And we talked about it, and that was actually the start of GlobalPro Ventures, and that's something else that we're going to be expanding on and trying to grow as well. But that's how it all started. So I in my opinion, feel like it was the right time. I've always admired you and been inspired by you, and because of that whole conversation, we started the process. I think that's important because the one thing I did learn from you very quickly is, it doesn't matter how much you talk about something. It doesn't matter how much planning you do. It really doesn't matter if you don't do anything, right?
Execution.
So you have to do. You have to do. Oftentimes what happens is that you get this analysis paralysis, right? We'll call it, and you don't do. So at that point, I just, I started to do, and we started to get through it, and we opened the office in New York. We started our first, investment in the hospitality business. We started to go through the process of building up what you had your vision, I had my vision, and we tried to come together to do all that. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, things changed tremendously, obviously.
Everywhere.
But again, right? Planning, persistence, and patience, and now we're here, right? So, I knew from day one that this is what you really wanted. You just wanted me to be here in Miami, obviously, but we're here now.
It took a while to really in, but
we're here now. Patience and persistence. Yeah. We're here now, and now, in my opinion, the way I view the situation is there's this big tower that's been built, and we're at the precipice now, and we want to top off the building at this point. And I don't mean that that's the end. What I mean is we want to get the amenities done. We want to put everything together, start to build the second phase of it, right? For just to put an analogy together. And I think ultimately now is an important time because we have all these processes in place. We have a great team, and you have been able to realize all these different verticals that you wanted to add to the business as kind of bolt-ons. Because again, to go back to a question I got the other day, are you guys are not risk managers? What are you? What do you do? I don't understand. Do you sell insurance? And ultimately, we are insurance coverage experts. We have an insurance services firm that we're building. We have many different capabilities. We have a tremendous pedigree with the people on our team, right? We have the chance now to do something that nobody else in our industry is doing.
Yep.
And ultimately, you mentioned before that the goal in the beginning was to make sure that we were representing insureds against insurance companies, and ultimately, there really isn't. Who's that, Frankie?
I think so, man. I don't know. I think Siri decided to turn on the radio there.
Adding some dramatic music in the background.
Yeah.
So now we have a chance to expand on all of that, and I think it's important because again, you build the tower, and now we got to take it to the next phase, and you've left a foundation and a path, and that's where we are today. So kind of for always good timing. There's planning and then there's doing, right?
Yep.
And we've been bold, and you've taught me a lot over the past couple of years. I'm forever changed, and especially in mindset, and I think for the better. Obviously, it's something that I'll always look back and say, just like you are, wow, these things had to happen. Some things had to happen. Some things had to be talked through. Some things had to be done, and now we're here. So, I just want to carry that legacy and move on. So you mentioned before something I want to segue into now for the future, which is we have a saying around here: we innovate to excel, right?
Yep.
And one of the things that you mentioned before is building all these processes, building the technology,
Yep.
building these cornerstones for the company and the different verticals to get it to a different place. I always describe our company as the biggest, smallest company you're ever going to get to know. That has to do with marketing, the way we are from a brand perspective, how bold we are, the things that we do, how we treat our clients, how we adjust claims, how we go through our process. But it's also pervasive, and it goes through everything else that we're doing. So we innovate to excel very purposefully, and now we're innovating again to get to the next level and to perfect some of these projects that we've been working on. So hopefully that's how you feel too, because that's how I'm seeing the moment, and this is the precipice, and we're about to take another jump.
It's definitely a shared vision, and I think that early on when in our conversations, even when you're on the beach, I think we were sharing a common vision, and I recognize it early on, and I think the tenacity to want to execute, I think, is something that a lot of people lack, and I think that that's a lot of times where people fail, is while they have a desire to execute, or they have tenacity but they're not executing, or if they're executing but they don't have the tenacity to follow through on whatever their vision or their goals are. I think it's a combination or one or the other that just really stands in their way. And I think one of the things that you and I have shared so much of is a lot of things that you just spoke about which demonstrating this, as you said, to do.
Yeah.
Get out and do things that are going to positively impact people's lives, the community, our industry. Innovation is at the center of everything that I have done from the beginning. The idea that I was developing software for an industry that I knew nothing about, but took such an interest in it through the innovation and the design of that software. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Let's do this. Let's give this a shot. And having other licensing as a contractor and experience in engineering school, and having done so many different other things, I really kind of feel as if my career could have went in so many different directions, and I could have met so many different other people. But it's interesting how it all kind of aligned and fit like it has.
Happens for a reason.
You're right. And as we've talked about kind of the vision going forward and shared on those things in the early launch of GlobalPro Venture, again, it's almost fortuitous, or it was so forward-looking that we knew that we needed to build in order to get there. But we planted the seed, and now we need to water it, right? We need to continue to feed it, feed our desires, our ambitions, and I think through that tenacity to want to execute, which we absolutely share, and I saw so early on, I think we're going to achieve so much. And I think honestly, we constantly keep saying, we're just getting started. I don't just say it just to say it. I really honestly feel like it. I feel like this literally just turning a page is the next chapter. It's a logical next step. It is, in fact, part of the early vision that I had of having a company that has multi different facets and skills in different industries, all working together. And again, something you and I shared from day one with GlobalPro Venture. We know it's there, the opportunity. The market kind of, has wavered, and while we've had some early success with GlobalPro Venture, I honestly think that, we have so much potential there, but we've understood through patience and through persistence that it's going to take time to build that, and we'll continue to do that. And what we have over here at GlobalPro Recovery, particularly in the Florida market, is huge market opportunity and potential to grow, and many different things that are untapped or that we've started to tap on, but through more focus and some new goals going into the new year. I think we're going to finally be able to do that and achieve those things through this transition. And that's what makes us so damn exciting, right? Yeah. And I don't say that to be animated or just to be cliche about it, but it's fucking exciting. And I think what this offers is that opportunity to truly execute on those aspects of our vision that we certainly share, and to achieve so fucking much more. I think that we've already started to experience it or achieve it, and maybe we don't even see it or realize it yet. I always feel that way. I feel as if sometimes that things are yet to actually come into picture. It's just right there. You can see the early beginnings of a certain idea.
I think that's the innovation, though. That's the innovation process, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I would agree. Like, we're there. That's what I'm saying. We're on the precipice. Like, we're right there. Yeah. So I would agree with that. Right.
It's like a mirage, It's just you need to continue to push forward and get there, and suddenly it becomes a mirage to reality, right? Yeah. So, and I think that's with anyone's goals or dreams. Or BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. I talked about BHAGs incessantly. You can go ask Sphera in August. I think they BHAG'd it like enough. I don't know. I think I made a new word there.
You read a list. Top 100 BHAGs.
Yeah, BHAGs. I mean, that's all I ever wanted to talk about. I still talk about big, hairy, audacious goals and SMART goals and things like that. I mean, I live by the idea of that you write it down, you believe it, you live it, you execute, and you can achieve pretty much anything that you set your minds to. And I think with the new launch of two new things, the nucleus thing and the claims calculator, and being able to focus my energy and time on those things to really grow and support and again feed this vision. Right, feed this vision, and alongside you and GlobalPro Recovery and the ventures and all the other things that we have going on, how they holistically just kind of feed into that and give me the energy and the desire to jump out of bed, not just crawl or roll out of bed, right?
Well, it's that innovation again that's going to take us to the next place, and that includes all the different verticals and GlobalPro Recovery, we'll call it for this conversation. Speaking of that, the technology stuff is going to take off, obviously. Being pulled behind that, though, I think is now our ability to represent associations and business owners and insureds in all these different ways now, right? And that has to do with the licensing, that has to do with our experience, the pedigree of our team I always talk about, right? But that's what's coming next is this innovation in all these different ways. And the core competency, the core business here is going to be not left behind, right? There's all these stages that we're going to get through to add.
I mean, think about this, right? A business that has been focused on representing policyholders in the ready, recovery, and rebuilding phase of it is being recognized in the industry by the defense side of things, by the industry. And now we're being hired by defense attorneys, defending claims, both by contractors, subrogation attorneys. These law firms are reaching out to us, recognizing the amazing work that we have done.
If you can't beat them, you join them, right?
So it's and I kind of you bend them to your will, right? Yeah. So I feel as if that transition's occurred. I mean, we've been appointed by federal and state court as the public adjuster of choice and various different interesting matters. We've been recognized as experts by those courts as well. And now we have law firms on both sides, both plaintiff and defense, hiring our talented people here, our team members here at GlobalPro, to represent their interest in the defense of claims. It's an exciting pivot for GlobalPro, huge market opportunity for us. Why not? I mean, we look at things objectively. That's always been important. That's why I mentioned earlier, advocate.
It should be fair on both sides, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Advocate, don't aggravate.
That's right.
I mean, I can see that from both sides. I think that sometimes there are ridiculous demands made.
That's
I mean, we've seen them from unit owners when we're representing associations, and a lot of the allegations against associations when there's clearly no negligence, or even if there was, the demand that they're making is so ridiculous that I could even see how we could possibly help and support the defense of these things. So I think, again, it's the evolution of it. These things are just starting to happen for us. So there's so much. There's so much more to accomplish here.
That's a good point. Ready to recover, rebuild. That's what we're going to hopefully perfect here. Is that we call it a comprehensive process, a 360-degree approach, right? So the rebuild side is also going to be addressed here in the next iteration of GlobalPro. That's going to be an interesting addition to everything that's going on. We'll talk about that later, obviously. But
not too later though.
No. I mean, like 2
minutes. We teased it out.
I mean, like later tonight. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tonight. But so that's there's so much going on. There's and that's probably how our brains work best, obviously. And we're just trying to rein everything in and again execute on the plans that we have and the vision that we have for those things. So the big transition is here. We've talked about it. Obviously, we've planned, and now we're going through it. So you always ask me if I'm ready, but this is your baby, right? You're giving me the keys to the Rari right now. So
Well, I will say this. I want to first, obviously, I was one of the first, and I'll continue to be it. Is to congratulate you.
Thank you.
It's deserved. It's deserving of your efforts and everything that you've brought, your energy, again, that shared vision, your ambitions and ideas that you bring to me on a daily basis. At times I'm excited for them. They shock me. Sometimes they surprise me. Sometimes they're a little bit scarier on them because there's so many unknowns, and that's okay. It's okay to be a little bit like, I don't know, like unsure, right? You want to push, right? And you do that so much. And I think the respect you have from our team and other pillars in the community, industry experts, the community association world, whether it's the managers to the executives, you have the respect, you have the confidence to achieve the goals here at GlobalPro. And I'm so damn excited to celebrate tonight. I was so excited to get that press release out on Monday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on our website, globalpro.com. It got picked up by some major media sources, which I was really excited to see.
Yahoo was first. It was weird. Yeah. Yahoo picked up right away. And I'm not boasting. It's more like I was just shocked.
No boast.
I was just shocked. Yahoo Finance.
Picked it up right away. So it's exciting to see that. I think that the emails and text messages, the outreach that I've had from other with people within various different industries, congratulating me on your appointment as president of GlobalPro and in the Florida office. I think it's awesome to see the growth, the opportunity, and see you grow and execute on so many of your ideas. I've always felt like the marketing side of the business was the incubator for new and novel ideas, and it was like our R&D, if you will, research and development. I've said that so many times. Actually, I've been quoted a number of times saying it. Insurance is not a sexy thing to talk about. In fact, you can put more people asleep than to get them excited about it. If you even mention the word, particularly in Florida, you mention it, they shut their ears off.
Yeah.
But so we have to be innovative in the way in which we deliver our messages, the way we think, and I know you share that. In fact, I would say over the last several years, and something I noticed is that you spent more time focused on our marketing efforts and our branding, and making sure that it was front and center, that it was properly represented, and finding new ways to just fit it into situations that I think we've surprised people at how we've been able to do things. Like with this show, I mean, the amount of people that tell me like, oh, it's so awesome. Now, if you go on YouTube, you might not see many views there, but the way we've been able to rebrand, remarket, redistribute this is you. That was your doing. That was your, I had this idea that we shared once upon a time prior to the pandemic about doing something like this. and now to see us execute on it.
We want our real show, though. We're waiting.
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah,
we're ready.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
That was a different conversation.
Yeah, that was but let's just say that we need to be mic'd up and we need cameras in those cars when a major storm hits.
The Kardashians literally this would ruin their empire.
This
they have serious competition. If anyone broadcast companies were ready.
Yes. By the way, it's unscripted too,
yeah, exactly.
And it never gets dull. It's hysterical.
I guess it has to be on cable. It has to be on a paid network.
You may need a big edit button for some of it, but we have some fun. Even in the worst times, you gotta. I think that's just about how do you deal with a tough situation like that? You've been on the front lines with me, shoulder to shoulder, so many times, and being able to, even in the worst of times. You haven't showered in days. Food is not the greatest. Your hours are ridiculous. Your resources are spread thin, as everyone's are after a major disaster. No matter how much you plan for it, there's always something new and different to learn from all of these storms. I say something very heavily, not lightly. There is a lot to learn after one of the major storms. And the idea that you have been there with me, through a lot of these things, Hurricane Michael and Ian and et cetera, and seeing what it's like to be in those moments, but being able to kind of sit back, laugh, and enjoy ourselves, to just kind of escape a little bit, is what keeps us moving and motivated, and realigns our perspective. I think it just. I think we're going to do a road show one day on pho and make sure that everyone knows where the best places are, and the Bahini sandwiches.
Broadcast companies, we're ready. Netflix.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah.
HBO.
There's this thing out there about biting a pizza or whatever else. I feel like we can do that when it comes to certain soups and things, but I think we got a lot to work with here, but it's been fun. It's been exciting. Talking about the future, Matt, the press release hit. What was going through your mind? What are you thinking about right now? Talk a little bit about your vision. What are your ideas? Where do you think the business is going to be in the next 10 years?
So it's I'm an old football player, so I always make football analogies, but it's like getting ready. You're in the tunnel, you're ready to go out, and you hear the crowd and the whistles and things are going on, and then you go and you go. And you figure it out. That's what we do. We go and we figure it out, and we use our experience, we use our processes, we get it all done. So right now I'm kind of trying to figure it all out as I'm going, and meaning in this short term that we're doing the announcement, doing the amazing cocktail party tonight, all this stuff. But the hay's in the barn, I guess is the best way to say it, right? We've been planning in general together for a long time, in general, all these different verticals, how we're going to get through the different quarters, how we market our service. We've been planning anyway. So the foundation is tremendous. So I can confidently say that I get a lot of my confidence from knowing that we've done this so many times, and so I'm standing on top of all that experience, all that time, all that energy. It's 10,000 hours to become an expert, right, in what you do. So we've done that. Now it's the lights are on. Let's go use those tools that we have and all the resources that we've built ourselves to get ready for all this. And the biggest thing for me is I'm an emotional guy just in general, right? So I don't take this lightly, right? Our team means the world to me. You mean the world to me. Susie means the world to me. This is not just a promotion and someone's working and they're going through the motion. That's not how this works. That's not how we do things, right? So that's what I'm holding on to right now because I love that feeling. That's the best part about this whole thing, in my opinion. This is not just I got a job and I'm getting all this attention or whatever. That's not how this is going to work, right? We are going to pull ourselves up together. We've done it for a long time. The foundation is there. The hay's in the barn. Let's go, right?
Got the team.
Let's go. So we have the team. The next 10 years for me, and if I'm looking, a 30,000-foot level overview of what should happen, what's supposed to happen. I hope to double, at minimum, double the team, double the value and the revenues of the company, and get to a place where the projects that we have ongoing surrounding the job, Mr. Odess, you heard me, surrounding the job, are also thriving and getting to that place where we're making another decision in 10 years about what the next 10 years is going to look like at a different, at level 120, at floor 120 instead of 60, right? So for me, it's growth. We're going to look for the best talent out there for the positions that we need. We have obviously some big plans about how we're going to innovate our offerings, our services to our insureds, our clients, and how that's going to support the ecosystem, everything else we're doing. And that's the short term, right? But after 10 years, I want to be able to look back and say, we did everything in the beginning according to plan, stumbled a little bit, figured it out, and then 10 years later, I'm looking back saying, okay, well, this is what we want.
Now we're here.
And we're here. And so in doing that, though, I'm going to try and keep the core of the business, the core of the family together. Meaning, we have core values, right? We have our focus that we talk about all the time. We have our mission statement. While those things are living, they're living. I would consider them, they're adaptable. They'll change a little bit here and there, but they are our core. And so we have to continue that and build on that. And again, like I said, the foundation's been built, and I'm gonna take it up another mountain here, and hopefully after 10 years, maybe I'm doing this to somebody else, right? At the end of the day, and we're off on a 100-foot yacht doing whatever we're doing.
I love the vision.
Yeah. Babies around everywhere. Yeah. That'd be big then. Obviously.
Yeah.
And big, hairy, audacious goal, right? So again, this is a tremendous opportunity to build on something that's the foundation is tremendous. Many people don't get an opportunity like this. I can confidently say that I'm in a unique position, in my opinion, and I'm very excited, and I'm ready to go. I mean, let's go. That's my, me. Let's go. Let's go do it. Let's go. Let's get to it. So.
All right. Well, tonight's the night. Big celebration. We'll be downtown in Brickell, where we have represented so many community associations and business owners. It's a fitting location for a big transition like this. For all those that are going to be joining us there at the Brickell SLS, it's going to be an evening to remember. I'm going to be enjoying every last minute of it. My wife, Susie, is going to be joining me and in full support of everything that's going on here. She's been in my corner from day one, so she has to be there tonight. To show support for you as well. I know she's excited. My whole family's excited about it. I told my kids about it. They got excited about it. Tio Matt, as you're known.
Yeah.
Minka and Luca, I couldn't be more excited for you. And the whole family's going to be there. I kind of just feel like the community is our family at this point. The amount of RSVPs that we're getting so early on was so awesome. Day one, I kind of felt like we were already filled up the list. And we hadn't even really told anyone what it was about. But that just shows.
It's a testament to everything over the past 11 years.
We literally just teased it out.
Yeah.
And we had, dozens of RSVPs. GlobalPro is doing an event. We're going to be there. We're going to show support. We're going to be part of it. Yep. We just do things differently. And I'm excited for tonight. It's going to be a hell of a celebration. So that's it, man. That's it. You ready?
I'm ready. I mean, all I can say is, I'm very much looking forward to tonight. Obviously, it's going to be really good to see everybody, especially the babies.
It's going to be a few toasts.
Yeah, a couple of toasts. We're
be ready to raise your glass a few times. It's not just going to be once, but a few times.
We're going to have some fun, obviously. Yeah. It's going to be a couple of toasts here and there, and to see everybody and laugh and hug and talk is going to be great as well. But, ultimately, again, I'll end on just, that I want to thank you, obviously. My best friends, my business partner. I would never be here without you. I can unequivocally say that. You've taught me so much, and I continue to learn from you. And learning together, I think, is one of my favorite things in the whole entire world. So, thank you for the confidence and the trust. It does give me confidence and encouragement, obviously. Thank you to Susie. Thank you to your kids. Thank you to my wife, Kristen, who is always with me, always supporting me, no matter what. She's always been there. She's my rock. She's always the one that wants me to stay on the beach an extra couple of minutes, couple of hours there. And so that's always good because me,
you got to get that tan.
I'd rather be over here. So me, I gotta balance it out. And thank you to our team, our tremendous team, everybody involved. Farah, Yen, Josh, August, PJ, Susie, Carla. I want to go into the other verticals and talk about that too. Vicky, I love you very much. Thank you for everything that you've done to help us and all of the comedy that you add to our show that we're going to put together one day for Post Storms. And I can't thank the team enough, you enough, and then our clients, right? All the associations. It's not easy to represent or get to a number where you're representing community associations in particular in this market, where you're above 1,400 plus. Like that's a tremendous number. We've done tens of thousands of claims. We've recovered over $1.2 billion in recoveries for the clients that we serve. We have hundreds of business owners, hundreds, if not thousands, of homeowners. That is not you don't build a mountain like that without planning, persistence, patience, and then execution. So I'm hoping to take that and make it even bigger. So thank you.
Well, let's wrap this up. Check us out on GlobalPro.com. Make sure you like us and follow us on all our social media. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that when we go live, you get the notification, because we are here every single week, same time, same place, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the Griffin Studio, as I love to call it. And Matt, congrats again. Thank you for everything that you've done for GlobalPro to date. I am beyond excited for what's to come. We've teased few things here, but there is so many more ideas. Whether it's on the GlobalPro recovery side as well as the venture side, I am excited for what's to come. You are the right man for the right job, and it's really important that you always put the right butts in the right seats, and I think we've achieved that here. So join me in congratulating Matthew on his new promotion, president of GlobalPro here, and join us tonight at the SLS. I can't wait to toast with all of you. We'll see you same time, same place, right here on the Recovery Report Live.